This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Golding questions rationale for eviction of Louisville residents. Opposition leader Mark Golding is questioning the rationale behind the decision to evict the residents of the informal settlement at Pleasant Hill in Louisville, St. Catherine. The residents have been occupying the property for decades, but were recently served with eviction notices by the Commissioner of Lands. They have been given until December 6 to relocate. Mr. Golding visited the area and met with the residents on Friday. The residents, he said, have expressed a willingness to formalize their living arrangements and should be given an opportunity to purchase the land for a fair value.
My understanding is that the people would like to formalize their arrangements with the land. They are willing to acquire the land for a fair value, and they want to get their titles for their land. And this is the way it should go. I do not understand what is the thinking behind these notices. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't see why any government would want to do such a thing. So we are going to make inquiries about that to find out what they're really thinking. And if necessary, we'll have to take other forms of action. Because a landowner cannot stand by and watch people put their blood, sweat, and tears on all their earnings, investing in houses, and then when the houses are in an advanced stage, come and say, oh, well, in fact, we want the land. Come on. No, the law does not allow that. And when it's a government who's doing this, it is particularly reprehensible. And we must not allow it to go any further. Overall, the country needs a system of fairness and justice for dealing with the people in relation to land. We have tried various things in the past, and we must continue trying till we get it right. Because every Jamaican aspires to own a home, and every Jamaican who is landless aspires to have their spot. And there is a land there that can be used to settle people while respecting food security, agricultural practices, and the need to protect agricultural land and everything else. We must balance all those things in it.
Man accused of shooting at police charged after being held at airport. A man who fled Jamaica after firing at the police 2 years ago was taken into custody after arriving at Norman Manley International Airport. The police say 26-year-old Akeem Thomas of Peyton Place in Kingston was arrested last month. It's reported that on March 23, 2020, lawmen were on an operation when they approached Mr. Thomas's house. Mr. Thomas and the two men reportedly opened fire at the police team before fleeing. Two high-powered weapons, a shotgun and an M16 rifle, were seized during the operation. Mr. Thomas has been charged with shooting with intent and illegal possession of firearm and ammunition following an identification parade. Vaz suggests modernizing post offices amid rising online shopping. Minister of Science and Technology Darrell Vaz has highlighted a need to modernize and reopen post offices across Jamaica in light of the rapid increase in online shopping. Speaking Thursday at the reopening of the Central Sorting Office on South Camp Road, Mr. Vaz said technology has opened up significant possibilities for the inclusion of information and communications technology in postal services. He noted that post offices are important because they provide a link between the digital and the physical space, delivering products brought in the boom of e-commerce. Minister Vaz said a consultant has been identified to assist the government in modernizing the postal service.
Some persons may question the place of the postal service in today's digital world, but post offices are important socio-economic institutions which provide significant linkages between the digital and the physical space. We would all agree e-commerce and online shopping have become increasingly prominent in our society, and the postal service is integral to the aiding the delivery of many of these products we purchase online. I believe this is an exciting time for the postal network. The move to transform the postal service is just not a local, but a global one. New technologies are changing the way postal services are delivered to customers, and we must adapt and meet these new realities. Some of the postal points have been closed in some areas, so as you look to create the new face of the Jamaica Post, I wish to see greater efforts to reopen as many of these offices as feasible and the provision of services to our rural citizens.
Curfew imposed in Bayshore Park, Kingston. A curfew has been imposed in Bayshore Park in Kingston. The measure will run from 8 p.m. on Friday, October 14 to 8 p.m. on Sunday, October 16. The boundaries of the curfew are as follows. North along the Cement Company Dirt Road running from the company's eastern boundary to an imaginary line intersecting with an imaginary line extending from Crusher Lane. East along Harbor Drive from Sir Florizel Glassbowl Boulevard to Crusher Lane, then along an imaginary line to the Cement Company Dirt Road. South along Sir Florizel Glassbowl Boulevard from the Cement Company's eastern boundary to Harbor Drive. West along the eastern boundary of the Cement Company from Sir Florizel Glassbowl Boulevard to the Cement Company Dirt Road. All persons within the boundaries of the curfew are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. 2 men shot, 1 fatally in Manchester. 2 men were shot, 1 fatally at Elliston District in Manchester on Friday afternoon. Preliminary reports are that about 1 p.m., residents heard loud explosions. Shortly after, the men were found at a remote section of the community suffering from gunshot wounds. They were rushed to hospital, where 1 man was pronounced dead and the other man admitted. A police source told the news that detectives theorized that the men were involved in a ganja deal which went wrong. This latest incident follows Thursday night's fatal stabbing of a man in a dispute in 3 chains, reportedly over $400. Motorist hospitalized after 3-vehicle crash in Manchester. A man has been hospitalized following a 3-vehicle crash on the Savoy Main Road in Kingston on Friday. Reports reaching the news are that the crash involved 3 Nissan motor cars. Firefighters were called shortly before 7 p.m. to remove the driver of one of the vehicles as he was reportedly pinned inside the mangled car. The injured man was rushed to the Percy Junior Hospital, where he has since been admitted. There were no other reports of injury among those involved in the crash. St. Anne cops are ready for holiday weekend. Determined to prevent a repeat of the gridlock seen in the streets on Easter weekend in April, the St. Anne police have put measures in place to handle the increase in traffic expected over the upcoming Heroes weekend. They have increased operations aimed at minimizing congestion and the crashes in the parish. We started on Tuesday and it will continue throughout the weekend. There is an influx of persons that will be coming in for some form of entertainment during the time of the holiday, and we will be looking at putting more officers on the street, and especially in the areas where the events are being kept. Acting head of the St. Anne Police Senior Superintendent David White told the news on Thursday. He said this will be done to ensure the roads and the main thoroughfares are safe. Mark you, by the end of this week, what you'll be finding is quite a number of persons will be coming out of Kingston and elsewhere to the tourism area of the parish, and so you'll be seeing heavy traffic by Friday afternoon. But no doubt that we'll have those police in the space, and we'll have more by the ending of Friday into Saturday morning and into the remainder of the holiday, he assured. Noting that there have been a number of crashes in the parish recently, the lawman urged the motorists to be extra vigilant at known crash hotspots within the parish. When you come into St. Anne, be careful of your speeding along the Landover Main Road, the Queen's Highway. Those are spots where persons normally lose their lives if they drive carelessly. We're asking those persons partying and coming into the space that you be careful of the amount of alcohol you consume during that period. We'll be steadfast and we'll be having zero tolerance with those persons we find speeding along our roadway. You will be prosecuted, he cautioned. It is anticipated that starting Friday, October 14, there will be a plethora of entertainment activities in the resort parish as there were for Easter. Those heavily attended April events caused a major traffic pileup in several sections of St. Anne. People were stranded for hours, and the local authorities and the police were flayed for failing to put measures in place ahead of the event. There were questions about why shuttle buses were not used to ferry patrons to and from events, and whether the municipal authorities had carefully scrutinized the venues to assess their suitability to host the events within the context of the impact on traffic flow. On Thursday, SSP White said his team is ready for this weekend. In addition to placing additional manpower on the streets, they will also bring in off-duty cops to beef up their numbers, he said. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.